Speak for yourself. Purple edition up here. Marcellus Wiley wearing the purple to his finest. And Emmanuel,
I'm purple adjacent. You know me, big dog. I ain't never do nothing on point. I'm always adjacent with it. You look good, though. I'm happy for you.
Are you happy for me? Wow, where were you before when I ain't looked this good? Oh, okay. We'll get to that. But let's get it started right now with a thriller. Not in Manila. In Baltimore, where Lamar Jackson's Ravens went toe-to-toe with the Chiefs last night. Lamar put up the Ravens up by 1 with second touchdown run. Baltimore got the ball back late in the fourth quarter after a huge fumble by KC. On 4th and 1, Lamar got the first down, which helped, quote, get that monkey off our back with his first win over Patrick Mahomes' Chiefs. So, Acho, what does this win over the Chiefs say about Lamar Jackson?
Man, it says that finally Lamar Jackson can beat the Chiefs, which means everything. It means now then that Lamar Jackson can go to a Super Bowl. And if Lamar Jackson can go to a Super Bowl, it also says that Lamar Jackson can win a Super Bowl. Do not for a second underestimate nor understate what this means wins. The Chiefs were the toll road, and you got to pay the toll for the little bridge to go up, for the little barricade to go up so that you can pass the toll to get to where you want to get to. Okay. The Chiefs were the toll road, and the Ravens had previously not been able to get past the toll. They got through all the other exits, got on the on-ramp, they got to the toll, and they had to turn around, or they just sat there and stalled and let other people drive past. But finally, this win shows me, this win tells me that, hey, the Ravens can do it, and they can go all the way. That's the biggest thing I truly took away. It also says that the gap in arm talent between Mahomes and Lamar Jackson may be vast.
It may be vast?
Large.
What do you think?
It may be. But the gap in efficiency and effectivity is not nearly as large as we want to make it.
Effectivity, not effectiveness.
Because
I like it.
So it's like, yes, Patrick Mahomes is a generational talent between his IQ, between his arm, between all these things and his weapons. But Lamar Jackson still beat him. He just did it his way.
Okay, there you go.
And I loved it because everything doesn't have to look how we want it to look for it to be efficient or for it to be effective. Lamar Jackson looks like nothing we've ever seen before. I don't care. Don't bring up the others. Like, yes, they share some qualities, but he just does it even better. This win was huge for the Ravens. This win was huge for the NFL. Because the NFL previously, you got to go through the Chiefs. I'm not saying you no longer have to go through the Chiefs, but at least now the Ravens can go through the Chiefs or you got to go through the Ravens too.
Man, I love it. I love it. I love it. You were giving some props to Lamar Jackson, but you were giving it to him as an appetizer, hors d'oeuvres of sort. You brought him on the tray, but you didn't want to serve it on the plate. Let me give it to him as an entree.
Please do.
Well, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, they done caught up to those Kansas City Chiefs. And good for them. I don't know if the Kansas City Chiefs are better this year than they were last year. Mahomes went 14-1 last year. Can they be better? They already have that one loss this season. We'll see. But even if the Chiefs have gotten better, Lamar has closed the gap. The Ravens have closed the gap. And how did they close the gap? Let's not forget about the injuries. They closed the gap with no running backs in the backfield, but I guess if Lamar Jackson is still available, then your best running back is still available. Lamar Jackson in terms of the passing game. And let's be real about this passing game. We all had our question marks about it. I think we still have some questions.
Absolutely.
But we're seeing flashes of brilliance in that passing game. Whether it's the big bombs out there to Hollywood or it's the fact that you saw Sammy Watkins, especially week 1, looking good, you're starting to see the blips that you need to see to have some balance with this team's attack. Let's talk about the ability of this team, because the greatest ability of the Lamar Jackson Ravens is their unpredictability. Let's talk about how, to an untrained eye, you see this offense, you see this team coming, and you don't believe what you're seeing. I'm going to break this down by one play and one play in particular that lets you know how special this team is. Let's talk about the design runs for Lamar Jackson when they're up the A-gap.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about how that happens. When you get a slam block, okay, I'm sitting there as a nose tackle. I'm like, oh, I know they're going to run the ball. Lamar Jackson, I don't know where he's going to go. Then you get slammed from a guard and a center. Guard says, got him. Now let's go up to the linebacker. You're the linebacker. I remember when you played. I know how you think. You're like, I ain't signed up for this, coach. But you know what? My job's on the line. Got to do what I got to do. Close my eyes and let's make some dirt. So now you got the 300-pounder getting slammed by 2 guys, so it's 600 pounds on him. He's not going to make that play. You got a linebacker who's not fully committed to this, but his job's on the line. And then who's carrying the ball? Lamar Jackson in a blur, coming downhill. I swear, every time he gets that ball in that designed run, It's 6 yards before anybody is in consideration of making that play.
Yes, sir.
What happens is not just that play in design, is when you don't know that play is coming, the unpredictability of that play. I'm looking at the Ravens, looking at the Kansas City Chiefs, say, we know who you guys are, but you guys don't understand who we are in fullness. And if this passing game continues to uptick, it's going to be special for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
My dog, you just threw it right there to the rim, so I got to dunk it. I'm about to give the world one of those slap your mama takes. At least one of them takes that make you want to slap yourself. The worst thing that ever happened to Lamar Jackson and the Ravens was Lamar Jackson leading the league in passing touchdowns.
Oh, don't do that.
That was the worst.
How?
Let me tell you why.
Ooh.
Lamar Jackson is a transcendent runner at the quarterback position. He is the best runner at the quarterback position the game of football has ever seen.
Fact.
Ravens, lean into that. From here on out, lean into that. Stop trying to go away from what Lamar Jackson does best and make sure you maintain balance. Lean into what Lamar Jackson does better than anybody else. Let me give y'all stats to back this up.
Let's go.
The Ravens are 14-0 when Lamar Jackson rushes for 90-plus yards. They're 9-0 when Lamar Jackson rushes for 100-plus yards. They're 11-1 when Lamar Jackson has 15 or more carries in the regular season. Lean into what Lamar Jackson does better than everybody else. Will Smith, big dog, you a comedian. Just take on roles that are comedic. Because what Denzel Washington does is this.
What?
Let me tell you, Sal.
We're going to lose Ali?
Let me tell you, Sal. What Denzel Washington does is this. He going to play the same role every time. He going to save somebody. He might save his kid in John Q. He might save somebody else's kid in Man on Fire. But he's saving somebody to be one of the best actors of our generation. He's not like, you know what, I'm going to go be funny. I know what I do. I know what I do well, so I'm going to do what I do better than everybody else. So where I am and what I learned from this game is this. The Ravens, you are at your best when Lamar Jackson just says, I'm better than anything y'all have ever seen at this position running the ball, so I am going to do that. So I would have previously come on the show discouraged. Lamar Jackson had 2 interceptions. Lamar only threw for under 250 yards. Man, Lamar Jackson only had 1 passing touchdown.
Trying to learn.
Bump all that.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson is a better runner at the quarterback position than the game of football has ever seen.
Yeah.
So what else I learned from here on out, Ravens, y'all just run the pill until they stop you.
Okay, stop right there. John Harbaugh erased everything you just saw and heard for the last 4 minutes when you were talking right there? Hell no. You know how small that box gonna shrink if Lamar Jackson just leans into running?
They
gonna lean into his ass.
They tried.
They're gonna lean into him and knock him out the game.
Here is why I disagree.
You are wrong.
When you were talking, y'all bring up that 4th down play again if we have it. I think they pulled it up while my dog was talking. So I'm looking, and the box was stacked. Box, all that is, America, for your viewers, is how many linemen and linebackers are within like a 7-yard radius of the football. Box is stacked.
Yeah.
But the kicker is, Sal, even though they had untouched players, you still couldn't stop the man. Everybody and their mama knew he was going to run the ball. Everybody and their mama knew he was going to run the ball, and you still couldn't stop him.
Yeah, but
because you can't stop somebody that's transcendent.
Let me oh, hell yes, you can. Let me be an insurance agent right now.
Please
and
do.
Look at this case and say, okay, everyone knew that Lamar Jackson was going to run the football.
Yes, sir.
Right there, and he still was successful in getting the 1 yard.
Yes, sir.
Game over. However, what was the risk factor in terms of this one play in comparison to a 1st down play in the middle of the 2nd quarter? What we're trying to do is make sure we got you off balance to fully exploit who you are as a defense. You don't want Lamar Jackson doing that many times in the ball game, even though he was successful in that opportunity. Let me tell you what you're also wrong on. Will Smith, don't ever do that. Dog, in the pursuit of happiness.
He did that. And 7 pounds. He did do that.
In the pursuit of happiness for these Ravens, and in the pursuit of happiness for Will Smith, it's okay to get out your lane. It's okay to throw the ball, Lamar. It's okay to throw the football.
Go ahead.
To throw
Go ahead.
the defense off. I do not want to see Lamar Jackson lean so heavily. And when we've been trying for the last couple of years to get him to have a balanced attack, to all of a sudden do that. Lamar, this is why I say that they caught the Kansas City Chiefs. And everyone's going to be like, oh, my God, how you can say it's just one game and they still have lost in the season series against them in years past? Shut it. Let's talk about this. They spotted them. 2 interceptions, a pick 6, spotted them, and still caught up to the Kansas City Chiefs. You can sit there and say, look, if you run a simulation, at the end of the ball game, the Kansas City Chiefs are not going to fumble the football in the last drive that can go ahead for the field goal. We understand that as well. But if you run this simulation 1,000 times going forward, I'm starting to see a team that actually has balance offensively. Look at the quarterback's records last 20 years or so, when they have multiple picks and a pick six in the game. They have played 588 games, and they have lost 500 of them. Lamar Jackson did something special against normal teams. That was extremely special when you're talking about it was against the Kansas City Chiefs. Also, the Ravens' first game versus the Chiefs in this era, where they actually did well on money downs. Little details like this. The first time they were over 50% in third down percentage. I'm nitpicking because this is what it takes for you to catch up to the greatest in your conference. Now they have caught up to them. The only thing that's going to take them over the hump is actually having balance in their offense.
No, sir. What will take them over the hump is doing what they do well. Sell.
They do it.
First play of the game, Lamar Jackson, pass play. Excuse me, first play of the game, Lamar Jackson, right tackle, real quick run. Second play of the game, Lamar Jackson, pass play. Third play of the game, Lamar Jackson, interception for a touchdown. So three plays to start the game. Second one, he misses Hollywood Brown. Long foul ball. Dude was wide open. Okay, we're going to go out there and pass again. Pick six, Ty Matthew, Chiefs going the other way. So what do? Second drive, hey, let's chill out. Do what you do well, Lamar.
Yeah.
Hey, Denzel, just go out there and save somebody. So what's Lamar Jackson do next drive? 6 plays. Only one pass, and it was a short pass, a glorified handoff, a long handoff, if you will. 6 plays, touchdown. Okay, Lamar, let's go back to, being balanced, like Marcellus said. Next drive, how does that end? Interception. Next drive, how does that end? Punt. Then they come around and say, you know what? Bump all this cute stuff. Let's turn around and start handing this rock off, and Lamar Jackson, you start keeping the pill. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown, touchdown. Sell. Balance is cute,
That's telling
but
you
not
nothing.
balance for balance sake. So the second play of the game was a long incomplete pass. Third play of the game was a pick six. Next drive, they say, we not going to pass. Touchdown. Next drive, they say, hey, let's pass
They
again.
had to settle Lamar down because, look, this is the problem with you guys out there who believe in voodoo and believe in, oh, my God, there's monsters. That Lamar, even Lamar, who was saying that the Chiefs were his kryptonite, y'all make too much of situations. I ain't scared of nobody. You know why? Because nobody is to be scared of. I tell my wife all the time, 6 million ways to die. Choose one. I ain't going to be scared the rest of my life. I'm going to die one day, and guess what? In that moment, I probably won't even be scared because there is nothing to return from. So you're looking at the Kansas City Chiefs as they come, and you're like, oh, Patrick Mahomes, oh. And Lamar Jackson had to have some of that in him. I'm being real. Because why are you going out there throwing the pick six? Why are you out there pressing? Why you have to get calmed down, settle down, go back to what you're naturally
That's what I'm
confident in?
saying.
Yeah, you're naturally confident in that because in part, they don't trust you to throw the football like they should in Greg Roman. And in part, because you make mistakes like that, either you're errant with the pass or you throw a pick six. But guess what? This team also went out there and finally found some form of balance in comparison to years past against the Kansas City Chiefs. Let me give it to you like this. When you look at the Chiefs are simple to figure out. Run the ball on them, you control the clock, you all of a sudden take time of possession, you chunk up the yards, and next thing you know, they lose in those games. They are 1-3 when they give up 200-plus rushing yards. Most teams going to be a losing team when they give up 200-plus rush yards. But that's the formula. So, yeah, in this game, run the football, but in this game also have a pass touchdown. Do they not have that?
One.
And that's the point. You need that. Without that one, do they win this game? That's the point. If you want to isolate, we can't isolate to the point where we lose balance.
Here is my point. They were not balanced. 41 carries, 26 passes. Off rip, Sir Columbia, sir, that is not balanced.
Oh, no, hold on. Now I can't let you go.
That's not.
You're going to quantity of attempts versus how much yardage you get per opportunity.
But still,
is it easier to run the football and get yards or throw the football?
Typically throw the football.
Well, that's the point. That's why you don't have to throw it as much.
But for these Ravens, it's not necessarily the same case. Even when I look at it, so you had 26 pass attempts. 2 of them were picked. So 1 out of every 13 passes for Lamar Jackson was to the other team. 1 out of every 26 passes for Lamar Jackson was to the other team to the crib.
I don't understand this logic. Because now you're saying to change your decisions based on the results, but I'm saying just make better decisions in play calling and better decisions with the football. If you look at it this simply, for years we've been saying, what is stopping the Ravens? The passing game. Now all of a sudden you're going to say, well, you're running the ball that well, don't pass. Here's
why. Because when I was watching the game yesterday, I for a moment felt pity for the Ravens offensive coordinator, Greg Roman. Like I truly did.
Let's go.
Because the second play of the game, I felt pity for a couple people, and y'all listen to me. I felt pity for Ravens first-round pick, Marquise Hollywood Brown. I felt pity for Ravens offensive coordinator, Greg Roman. The question is, why you pity them, Macho? Greg Roman schemed up a 70-yard touchdown on the second play of the football game, primetime game, two-star quarterbacks. Hollywood Brown beat 3 defenders, primetime game, 70-yard touchdown should be. But your quarterback, your MVP, unanimous quarterback, missed it. So Hollywood Brown doesn't have another 70-yard touchdown catch.
Facts.
Now we clowning Hollywood Brown saying he's not a first-round wide receiver. Look at what CeeDee Lamb out there doing. Look at what Tyreek Hill, another speedster, out there doing. Greg Roman, all they do is pass. All they do is run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Y'all realize if Lamar Jackson connects on that, he passes for over 300 yards yesterday? If Lamar Jackson connects on that, he has 2 touchdowns and only 1 interception because he threw the pick the next play. He would have had a touchdown that play. Instead, Lamar Jackson doesn't connect, and we blame Greg Roman, and we will go on to blame Hollywood Brown had they lost. When really, I'm like, that's Lamar Jackson's miss. So why are we pressing, making Lamar Jackson do something that he might be good at, but he's not great at, when Lamar Jackson can easily do something he isn't just great at, he is astute, phenomenal, marvelous, as good as they have ever been in the world at. We're like, nah, let's just make sure we do what you're good at to stay balanced.
One, I'm not really in love with your adjectives right now. I'm not in love with how you're describing Lamar Jackson. If you lead the league in passing touchdowns, I don't want to say good like C. I want to say like good B or great A. You led the league in passing touchdowns. You don't believe in him because he did that. I don't understand why. Here's the thing. No, you ain't going to no-sell me 1,000 times because you come up with a new revelation that ain't going to work for this team. Here's the thing about this team. This team just they just outgained what we saw in the Kansas City Chiefs. That's why they lost. Kansas City Chiefs usually are the ones that go out there and get more yards. That adds up to more points. You look at this situation the wrong way. You need to look at it like a coach would tell you in basketball. You're amazing going to your right. You need to work on your left-hand layup. Okay. And you're saying, no, I'm so good going right that why should I ever do my left? And I'm telling you why. Because when you get into the postseason, what will save you is you actually leaning into the things that you don't do so well.
Tim Duncan always banked the shot, didn't he? Tim Duncan always shot banks, didn't he?
No,
Sean Marion always shot like this, didn't he?
Yeah.
James Harden, he always goes left, don't he?
And you know what set that up?
Come on,
You know what sets it up? Another skill. Now, that's when I know you lost. And broadcasting 101, when a broadcaster does come on, it's over. We could go to break right now, but I'm going to let you keep talking. Dwight Freeney sets up spins by speed rush. Don't do that.
He did.
Now he did.
His move.
Hold on. His move. Yes, his move is running the football, but you got to set it up with a passing game. You're making my point.
I'm not. If you're going to set it up, then at least set it up safer. But you can't set it up with a cost. You can't set it up by throwing a pick six. You can't set it up by throwing long foul balls.
Mahomes threw a pick yesterday, not a pick six, but he threw a pick as well. You don't pass the ball anymore. You know what? You don't run the football anymore. Mahomes had to run for his life in games before to keep the plays alive.
So, asking Lamar Jackson to throw the ball excessively is like asking Patrick Mahomes to run the ball excessively. Patrick Mahomes is a generational passer. So what's he going to do? He going to pass.
Okay,
now, he can
I'm
run.
going to get to you.
He going to run. But he's not going to. And here's the other thing. This is why I said Lamar Jackson leading the league in passing touchdowns was the worst thing ever. Because you will go back and you will hang on that, as will so many people. He led the league in passing touchdowns. How are you going to tell me he's not a great passer? LeGarrette Blount led the league in rushing touchdowns with 17.
Don't you do that, them one-yarders. Don't do that one-yarders.
That LeGarrette Blount was the greatest running back. He was a very good running back, and he was good at what he did.
Yeah.
But let's not say that Lamar Jackson leading the league in passing touchdowns. Let's not use that as a narrative to undermine Lamar Jackson.
It's not a narrative. You're undermining him saying you're hanging your hat on something he accomplished. You're supposed to hang your hat on things you accomplished. We're not talking in hyperbole. We're not sitting here talking about what ifs. We're talking about it actually happened in reality. Give you a conversation I had with a tremendous running back that I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to put him out there like that. Reggie Bush. We talked a long time ago. Reggie Bush, you know when he got... Reggie Bush might have been... Outside of Barry Sanders, the best running back we've ever seen come out of college. You're like, Barry Sanders...
Reggie might have...
No, it's not a... We're going to really have arguments. Barry Sanders is the best running back ever come out of college. It's insane. Go watch him. Go watch him, especially his junior year. It's insane. Anyway, we'll have that conversation another time. I know how you want to fight. Reggie, now, the transition to the pros wasn't as expected. Let's just say that. Maybe a notch off. You know, people were like, Reggie, what happened? Like, you know, I heard those things, right? And he was my dog, so I told him the truth. I said, this is what I see from a defender's perspective. You so fast, you're so quick to bounce out. You're not setting us up. We know you faster than us. Guess what we run in our head? Mental geometry, because you're going to your move. You want the Ravens to go to their move. All I'm saying is set us up with the move. And Reggie Bush, Miami especially, started to set you up. He started to go under. He started to come at you. And then that started to open up the outside. If the Ravens want this passing game to set up the running game, I vote for that. But if they don't, and they just go out there and try to go full tilt running game, watch what's going to happen to them.
Undefeated.
Lamar going to be at this desk with us, chilling. Coming up, Tom Brady had undefeated. Shut up. They already lost the game. Tom Brady had 5 touchdowns Sunday and still thinks he could do better. We'll tell you if he can win the MVP. But first, the Cowboys got a big win over my Chargers Sunday. Yeah, whatever. They're my Cowboys, too. What y'all talking about? We'll tell you if we're encouraged or discouraged with Dallas's W. Next, on Speak for Yourself. Offensive coordinator edition.
Marcellus got to see his Chargers take an L in person to the Cowboys on Sunday.
Yeah.
Dallas had some questionable clock management. That's not surprising. But Dak Prescott still led an 11-play drive to set up the game-winning field goal. Mike McCarthy said, quote, I think you see the best of Dak Prescott in those situations. How about them Cowboys? Well, you encouraged or discouraged by the Cowboys in the win over the Chargers?
Yeah, I know it's tough for you to read that because both teams are actually my teams. Both teams have invested in me financially in my services. So, look, let me be objective about this. I'm actually both. I'm encouraged and discouraged by the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm not going to ride the fence. I'm more discouraged than I am encouraged. Let's talk about the Cowboys yesterday. Cowboys know that their formula for success is simple. We were just having that debate about Lamar Jackson and the way that they should approach the football game in terms of play concepts. Same thing for the Dallas Cowboys. Run the football, you guys win. The Cowboys won 11 straight games now when they're rushing for at least 175 yards. Now, 175 yards seems pretty daunting, unless you have 2 running backs. And then it doesn't sound so daunting, does it? Ezekiel Elliott is, what do the kids call him now? Running back, RB1. That's what they call it. Y'all so corny, Friday Night Lights. Why y'all do this to me? RB1, right? And Pollard is RB2, I guess, right? Let's flip that. Everybody out there at SoFi that came in contact with me was basically coming with the same theme. It was 2 things. One, where'd you get that drink from? Because they don't know where I sneak to my lounge. And the second thing is, yo, why isn't Pollard the starting running back? Every time he gets the football, you see a different response, not only from his team in terms of energy and electricity, but an outcome. Like Tony Pollard is their starting running back. Now, by pay, by selection, by popularity, it's going to be Zeke. But stop that, y'all. If you want to have the greatest success, Pollard needs to be your starter, and you need to continue to run the football. Let's talk about why I was discouraged as well. Not only because they're not committed to the better running back, but because you look at this team defensively. I know they had some COVID issues. I know that they were playing around with the lineup. Did the Chargers punt the football yesterday? Not a single time. Did the Chargers go out there and not once but twice have points taken off the scoreboard, including one of the drives they actually didn't get any points because they threw an interception in the end zone? Interesting. You see 99 yards of penalties. 12 penalties for 99 yards. I'm starting to add all that up. I'm like, wow, Chargers really should have won the game. I'm looking at it like how good the Cowboys can be instead of how great the Chargers really are, and just gave a game away. So a little more discouraged by the Cowboys in their efforts because it's not adding up. They don't have the commitment to the running game they should. They're not committed to the right running back in that same running game. And also, they played a team that gave them a game. They took it handily with a 56-yard field goal at the end of the game. But the point being, if you're looking at the Cowboys, you got to squint to see some good things from yesterday.
Ooh, good take. Encouraged. Am I discouraged? I'm confused. I'm confused.
A little bit.
Now, let me start because I'm from Dallas. You play for the Cowboys. Let's show the Cowboys love. They're an NFL team that won a game.
They won a game on the road.
On the road.
That's hard.
Facts. That's hard. As hard as can be. But now, Cowboys fans, let me give y'all, like Sale did, some medicine. You might not necessarily like it, but I promise it's going to be good for you. Cowboys fans, notice something. Mike McCarthy, clock management, once again, it was atrocious. Cowboys fans, notice something. Week 1 last year versus the Rams, Mike McCarthy, game management, atrocious. It came back to bite you later. Remember last year, 2017, y'all are down to the Rams, 11-yard line, 4th quarter in the game. Y'all don't kick the field goal. Y'all lose by 3. Cowboys don't ever cross the 46-yard line again the rest of that game. Mike McCarthy, atrocious. Cowboys last year, just like this year, they beat a team early in the season. We didn't know how good or bad they were, Atlanta Falcons. But in winning, we overlooked some flaws that would cost you Cowboys fans later. Last year versus the Falcons, you run 2 fake punts, one of which you run in the first quarter when you're down 14-0 because your head coach freaked out. Dak Prescott, he fumbles on the 6th play of the game, takes a bad sack fumble, leads to the Falcons going up early. We overlooked these things because the Cowboys won. I am not going to overlook them. I look at the game yesterday. Zeke, probably getting too many touches, to Marcellus's point. Pollard is the more explosive runner. I'm not going to call him better, but he's a more explosive runner. Here's the other reason I'm discouraged. And I'm not going to toot my own horn as much as I'm going to say shame on the Cowboys. So, Micah Parsons, 8 hurries yesterday, including a sack that was huge. Chargers were about to go score. Touchdown. Parsons, 18-yard sack on Herbert. All of a sudden, they kick a field goal.
Yeah.
But I'm watching Cowboys play the Bucs week 1, and I say, Micah Parsons is out of position in the first quarter. I tweeted by the second quarter. I say, man, Cowboys first-round pick Micah Parsons is absolutely lost as a defender in pass coverage. Then I go on to say they need to let him rush on the ball more and put him in a position to succeed.
Yeah.
How did I know that? After watching a quarter and a half of football, that Micah Parsons is best suited as a runner. But you, Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator, and Mike McCarthy, y'all didn't know that. Let me make this clear for y'all Cowboys fans. Micah Parsons, 8 hurries yesterday, most from a rookie since Nick Bosa in 2019, who I said was the Cowboys' best off-ball linebacker, not most explosive, but their best, Leighton Vander Esch, who just so happened to have 7 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a sack, plus a QB hit. I knew that after watching a quarter and a half of Cowboys play versus the Bucs. But Dan Quinn, it took DeMarcus Lawrence having an unfortunate injury for you to realize where to put your best player best. I'm discouraged, Sal.
Yeah.
I'm discouraged because, yes, the Cowboys won. I applaud you all for winning. But how does me, an analyst that only watched a quarter and a half, know how to play your better players, how to play your players in a better position than you all as the coaches and Mike McCarthy? I'm still seeing the same errors from you that we've seen previously.
Yeah, 2 things that highlighted from what you just said is, one, that the Cowboys don't know the best way to approach a football game. And 2, they're not going to be committed to that way even if they were privy to knowing what that is. The first thing is, I don't think they know the best way for them to win. Because you see Dak Prescott, not this week, thankfully. He had an efficient game, but he didn't go out there and throw it 50-plus times. But at the same time, why is he in that position in the first place? Is Zeke new to this team? Is Pollard new to this team? So you've already had the success in the running game that is correlated to your success and outcome. Why not commit to the running game to a fault? They won't do that. Second of all, you just brought up another example, a recent example of Michael Parsons obviously going out there and looking great when he says, hey, the car could go forward, going reverse, not so well. So now we're starting to see a couple of issues. The clock management, though, let's talk about that.
Please
2 things. Clock management. National media kind of let them get away with this. I'm not going to let them get away with this, even though you know I got Cowboy love. Mike McCarthy, everyone's talking about, well, why you let the clock run down and didn't run more plays and get into that situation? What were you doing? Mike McCarthy said, well, I couldn't see the clock. It went blank on me. Then he said, well, Kellen Moore couldn't see it because the television was blocking his clock. And I'm sitting there saying, wait a minute, how'd you even get in that position in the first place? So many times in this world, people want to talk about how someone responded in the moment. And I'm always the person, they call me something else, the person that comes out and says, how'd you get there in the first place? How'd you get in that bad predicament in the first place? Why were the Cowboys running the football in that moment to get to the point where they now had to make a decision on clock management? You should have been throwing the football in that situation or getting the ball out of bounds. I digress. Let's also talk about this. I got to get Zeke one more. I got to give you some more Zeke. I used to play running back, not nearly as well as Zeke, unless you want to count Pop Warner, but not nearly to his level. But I'm going to tell you one thing I noticed about Zeke now, and it came true and it came to fruition while I was sitting there right before the half. You remember when CeeDee Lamb caught the pass? They start running around, and he's trying to lateral it. He laterals the football after running, it looks like 40, 50 yards, to Ezekiel Elliott. CeeDee Lamb put in all that work to get him open to a position they could score right before the half, gift points. Give it to Ezekiel Elliott. You know what happened? Derwin James just pushed him out of bounds. Now, that may go unnoticed to the naked eye, but not to me, the running back in me. Oh, because there's 2 ways to play running back. You can run the football and run it like you're going to die if you don't get that yard, or you're going to run the football and just hope to stay alive to run the football again. The second is Ezekiel Elliott. He got pushed out of bounds. Comfortably, he floated out of bounds like a bubble. And then he was just running so dull to me. You ever see a running back when they get knocked down, their feet doing this, and they hit the ground? That's Pollard. Like, he's still in the air. He's still, I'm going to get that, y'all. I'm going to die for this. Zeke gets pushed out of bounds. It's just, Okay, next play lineup. And I don't know if that's the money that got him a little full because he looks slimmer, he looks quicker, but something is dull about the way he's running the football. Cowboys, fix that problem, and if you can't fix that problem, he is your RB2.
The Cowboys in a win. Well, here's the thing. Because if you're watching this, like, come on, the Cowboys won. Y'all shut up. Y'all got to realize the great teams are great. The great athletes are great. The great coaches are great. The great anything at anybody at anything they do is great because they don't just look at the win. They say, how can we improve? You can easily look at the Cowboys win and say, okay, we don't care that Zeke's not as explosive as Pollard. Okay, we don't care that the Cowboys didn't pass for a touchdown. Okay, we don't care that the defense didn't always play great at times. No. Instead, we're looking at it and saying, wait a second now.
Yeah.
This game, the same exact game, if y'all play it like this, is going to cost you versus another team.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you. So I've said this before. I'm going to say it a lot this year. And again, it's that never let the most stunningly beautiful who change your why.
You keep saying that, but I don't know if you ever seen her.
I'm saying it because
if you've seen her, you might change that whole saying. But
I'm saying it because Zeke is changing the Cowboys' why. You play a player because they the best player. Why do you put a player on a football field? Because they give you the best chance to win.
Thanks.
Why do you start a running back? Because they give you the best chance to attain yardage.
Yeah.
Why do you put somebody in the game? You put somebody in the game because they help your team more than anybody else on your roster can help your team at that moment.
Yeah.
But the Cowboys are letting these stunningly beautiful who's, like Ezekiel Elliott, because he's a stunningly beautiful running back.
Chill.
They're letting them change their why. He looked the part. 6'2", 225, chisel, got his abs back, looked the part, got the nose ring. But
got his ass back.
the why cell is what the Cowboys are changing. And then I look at that game, I'm like, wait a second. It didn't cost the Cowboys today.
Yeah.
But the way the Cowboys played against the Falcons week 2 last year didn't cost the Cowboys week 2.
Yeah.
You best believe it cost them from week 3 to week 17.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at with these boys.
Man, it's a silly, silly situation to see. Look, this is why people say crazy stuff like, oh, man, you learn more when you lose. It's just because when you win, you're just a little full, a little fat, a little high on the hog, and it shouldn't be that way. Even in success, you got to look for ways to improve. Profits and losses in the real world, P&Ls, right? In sports, it's performance and outcomes, like P&Os. Okay, the outcome was great. You know how many times I lost contain and we won the game, and I'm sitting there like, boy, if I do that again, because you know what's going to happen? You're going to lose contain and you lose the game. And then they going to hang you out to dry. This is a moment, Cowboy fans, you should be proud of. You went on the road, you won a game. But dang it, y'all keep doing this way, oh, that's going to be one of the few games you win this year. Coming up, the Browns won Sunday, but we'll tell you just how far Cleveland can go with Baker Mayfield. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Like chicken salad on the way. This weekend on Fox, start Saturday strong with the big noon kickoff pregame show at 10 Eastern. Live from Soldier Field in Chicago. Then at noon Eastern, 12th-ranked Notre Dame takes on number 18, Wisconsin. Huge big noon Saturday begins at 10 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. The Browns got a scare in the second quarter Sunday when Baker Mayfield injured his shoulder while trying to make a tackle after throwing an interception. Yep, I read that right. Baker did not miss any action and finished a near-perfect 19 for 21 with a touchdown pass in the Browns' first win of the season. So, Acho, how far can the Browns go with Baker Mayfield?
So the Browns can go, obviously, to the playoffs. They can win a playoff game. They can get to the AFC Championship game, but stops there.
Right there?
As it stands right now, it stops there. Y'all know this.
Why?
Of all the national media members, maybe me and Orlovsky ride harder for Baker Mayfield than anybody else. I do it with, Colin's show preceding ours and some of the Baker slander that just kind of infiltrates and migrates over to this. I shake off the Baker slander.
Stay slim on him. Stay on him.
Baker, that dude.
Don't do that.
But as it stands right now, I need to see more from Baker if I am going to believe that they are going to go far. Can I go to the big board?
You gotta go to the big board.
I just saw you get skinny. Can we go to the big board?
Get skinny up there.
Let me go to the big board, man. Y'all know we gotta go. Let me just break this down for y'all, big dogs. I look at the AFC in tiers. I'm only going to talk about 2 tiers because I'm only going to talk about the good teams, the really competent teams. And let's start last year. Last year, we knew what it was. The Chiefs, head and shoulders above everybody else, and they was up there with Joe Bills. Joe Bills was doing their thing last year.
Right.
But outside of that, Steelers, Browns, Ravens, Titans, Colts. For me, it was any given Sunday, really, with them dogs. That whole second tier, they were going to fight each other. But we knew who the top tier was. Okay, this year, Baker, can you get into that top tier for me? Please, can you please? And I just don't see it, Sel. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, I think they jumped up, you know what I'm saying, trying to get into that top tier. I understand they lost to the Raiders, which is why I put the Raiders now in the second tier. Man, I had to get the Colts up out of there. But the Titans, Steelers, Browns, Bills, now, to me, they're in that second tier. Until Baker can do like Lamar and get his team into that next tier, I just don't see the Browns being able to get to a Super Bowl. Can they win a playoff game? Yes. Can they get to the AFC Championship game? Maybe. But I'm going back to the desk because I don't see it.
Yeah, come on back to the desk.
I don't see it.
Are you getting taller, growing? Like, what the hell going on with the bottom of your suit? Like, and what kind of shoes are those?
My ankle cleavage getting a little risque.
It is. And what kind of shoes are those?
I don't even know, man. They were a gift.
Oh, okay. I can tell. They're free. No stripe Adidas. Okay, let's do it. Here we go. Let's talk about how far you could go with the Baker Mayfield-led Browns. Can't go nowhere. Man, you ain't going no... Dog. People think I hate on Baker just because I respect the facts. I respect the numbers. And when I say them, all of a sudden, I'm not the one to invite to the dinner party. Everybody's sitting there want to go kumbaya over Baker Mayfield. You know what? I'm going to give you guys who support Baker Mayfield this. Even though your rooting interest should never, ever make you overlook the facts. However, I will give you this. You know who Baker Mayfield is? Heller gave me this one. This is amazing. Baker Mayfield is almost and barely. He almost good enough to win the Week 1 game against the Chiefs, and then he barely good enough to beat the Houston Texans when...
That's actually a bar, bro. I hate that that's a bar. Browns fans, I'm sorry.
Without Tyrod Taylor getting hurt in the game. That's who Baker Mayfield is. If you think he's good, you're right. If you think he's bad, you're right too. And that's the problem. Don't believe me? Let's listen to the actions of Kevin Stefanski. Y'all gonna take this one to Baker. Let me be real. Baker Mayfield is considered a top 10 quarterback by those who believe in him. And he's not considered a top 10 quarterback to those who don't believe in him. I don't believe in him. And I don't think his team believes in him as well. At least the play calling doesn't believe in him. You know that Baker Mayfield right now is 27th in passing attempts in the NFL? Don't trust him. Now, that's coming off a year he was 28th. So they basically saying, we're going to do this again, Baker. We're going to let you manage this team. Why do I bring that up? Because Baker Mayfield still is the guy who has more interceptions this year than touchdowns. Why do I bring that up? Because you look at certain things about Baker Mayfield, they're not top 10, but it's still some positives. He's 13th in yards, and he's 13th in quarterback rating. Yeah, but that's not top 10 worthy, but close. Let's talk about Baker Mayfield in totality and then in mentality. Where is he top 10? Two places. One, in interceptions thrown. That's not a place you want to be top 10. He is 7th in throwing interceptions right now. Okay, that's not a good stat. Let's talk about where he's also top 10. Completion percentage. And then you got to get smart about the game of football and realize if you have the fewest attempts, you got the opportunity to have the greater completion percentage because you're throwing fewer attempts. Acho, I don't like your face right now, so let me say something that'll make you smile because you're not liking that I'm not liking Baker Mayfield. The worst part about Baker Mayfield is really his mentality. I always say it. He goes too full frat boy. Frat boy fresh. I hate when I see this as a leader, and you know what I'm talking about. Baker, didn't you learn from your mistake last year when you threw an interception and Odell went chasing down your interception? And what happened to Odell? Wop, wop, wop. So then Baker Mayfield throws an interception in this game. And I immediately, just, you know, the mental note, you're like, I hope I don't see Baker Mayfield on the screen because I know he go frat boy fresh. And look what happens. Who gets hurt on a play trying to stop an interception return? Baker Mayfield. Why is that a problem? One, it's a contract year, bruh. Like, you trying to get paid right now. Let's just keep it real. But beside the money, the leadership. Guys need you to do your job and do your job well. They don't need you to get out of position, turn into a defender for one play off of one interception, and then put your whole career damn near on the line. And then post-game, you know what he says about that interception? Oh, you know, it was a bad read, blah, blah, blah. And then I saw the runner coming back at me, and he saw it was me, so then he tried to unload on me. Yeah, you think not? Like, Ossie. As soon as an NFL defender hear Ossie, first thing you're thinking, what a quarterback.
Find a quarterback.
Find a quarterback. And Baker, we can't touch you in today's game unless you want to get touched. And Baker Mayfield wanted to get touched. You add up everything I just said, man, you can't go far with Baker Mayfield. Not with that level of production and certainly not with that mentality.
Let me start with the fact that I hate that I agree with some of your take. I phrase it like this. Baker Mayfield is not the reason you lose, but he will be the reason you don't win. So you're kind of, I'm with you when he's an almost barely guy. Yeah. Like he's almost good enough to beat the Chiefs and he's barely good enough to beat the Texans. I hate that as a Baker fan, as someone who sees the good in Baker, it's almost right. Like,
come on.
Nah, Baker wasn't the reason they lost last week to the Chiefs, not at all. But he's the reason they didn't win.
That last pick?
I think he was trying to throw it out of bounds.
I give a damn what you're trying to do.
I feel you.
The road to hell.
Even like, he's just the reason they don't win, and I need Baker. I desperately need you to be the reason. I don't want it to be Chubb. I don't want it to be Hunt. And in all honesty, I'm fine with it being Chubb and Hunt at times because that's their role. But Baker, when it's time to be you, it's got to be you. Second to last play versus the Chiefs right before halftime. When it's time for you to hit Njoku for a 60-yard bomb, I understand there was a holding call, but you didn't know that when you missed the throw. I need you to hit the call. I need you to hit the ball. I need that to happen. But, so until Baker can take that next step, the Browns can't take that next step.
Exactly.
And the kicker is, and Browns fans, let's just talk real here. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. Lamar Jackson yesterday, he outdueled Patrick Mahomes. Not necessarily in a box score, not necessarily in passing yards, but Harbaugh looked at Lamar and said, hey, you want to go for it? And Lamar said, yes. And he got the first down. Lamar Jackson, even after throwing a pick six, even after throwing another pick, he said, you know what? I'm just as important to my team, just as important for my team as you, Patrick Mahomes. I fervently believe the Cleveland Browns have the best roster in the National Football League when all parties are healthy. I believe the Browns have the best roster, but the Browns don't have the best quarterback. Baker Mayfield, you are the limiting reactant to the Cleveland Browns. I ain't used that word in a long time. I'm glad it's back. The limiting reactant being what's going to stop the Browns from achieving their ultimate goal is going to be Baker. The Browns can do everything they want if Baker lets them and if Baker commands them to. Baker just has to be better. He's not bad. But he got to be better, Sal.
Let me tell you this. Does he need to be better? I'm going to break Baker down a little further. I'm glad to see that I've converted you as well. If you ain't on the fence, you on my side of the law. No trespassing.
No.
Beware the dog will bark.
I'm on the other side. I'm just looking through. I'm looking through the fence. It's one of them little like gated fence.
What you looking at? What you looking at? What you over here looking at? Miss Parker. Miss Parker. Shout out to respect AJ. Rest in peace, brother. Baker Mayfield for the last 6 games. Why I say last 6 games? Because I'm going to take a quarter sample from last year, and I'm going to take the first 2 games this year. 95.5 is quarterback average and quarterback rating. Baker's under that, 94.9. Baker Mayfield the last 6 games is a 500 record, 3-3. Baker Mayfield the last 6 games, 6 touchdowns, 5 giveaways. Y'all need to keep up with this stuff, y'all. Baker Mayfield, let's talk. I swear, man. You know why I'm intrigued by him? Because I see it in him. I would be that frustrated coach. Like, Baker, I see it. Like, when he got drafted #1 overall, the reaction was already split. I guess that's why he's a polarizing figure, because he came into the NFL polarizing. I remember being at a room, and it was like a crowded venue. We were hosting this event. Baker Mayfield's drafted #1, and I couldn't tell if they were cheering or booing because you heard both at the same time. And now in this moment, you're looking at Baker Mayfield like, does this team get the most out of Baker when they need him most? I think more importantly, when you need him most, you trust him the least, because he's not going to be a guy that could put the team on his shoulder and win the game with his arm. Why? You ready for this? Baker Mayfield, amongst the quarterbacks that have had his number of attempts or more since 2018, second most giveaways. You can't do that since 2018. So I don't go 6 games. I don't go this year. You just keep going back and you keep looking at it. And if he's turned the corner, then in week 1, you don't throw that interception that loses the game. If you've turned the corner, then you still don't sit here after week 2 saying I've still thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. You lead this team. 1-1, Can't be mad at it. Could be better, but obviously could be worse. Coming up, I converted him. Tom Brady was doing GOAT-type things Sunday. Look at him, fired up at 44. We'll tell you if he can take home the MVP hardware. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Brady already has 3 MVP awards, but a 4th could be on the way. GOAT threw 5 touchdown passes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the Bucs win over the Falcons. After the game, Brady said, quote, I think we can do better. No one can do it better. Despite the 44-year-old leading the league with 9 touchdown passes. Shout out to the DOC. So, Acho, can Tom Brady win the MVP award? Oh, cover your face. You are.
Yeah, he can. He can.
Right here, though.
He can.
Say it with you.
But I refuse to believe that Father Time is going to get punked like this.
Wow.
I refuse to believe that Tom Brady going to step to Father Time and say, hey, I run things. But I refuse to believe that, Sal.
Okay.
Nobody punks gravity. Few people ever punk taxes. You don't punk death. And Tom Brady out here punking Father. No. I refuse to believe that Brady gonna look at because what next? He gonna look at Mother Nature, start smacking his lips, start responding to Mother Nature like what? Like a bad kid?
Like the family portrait right here. Father Time, Mother Nature.
Tom Brady can win the MVP. I get it. But I have to rock with the person who's undefeated.
Who?
Father Time. He don't lose no battles.
Tom Brady undefeated too. They 2-0.
No, you're right.
That part.
Right. But there's just that Sal. I mean, after seeing what we saw with Big Ben last year, they started off 11-0.
What are they?
And then you see Father Time done catch up to him.
Ben Brady or Ben Roethlisberger? Oh, okay, that's not Tom Brady.
I get it. He's different. I get y'all heard me. I said he could. But you really think Father Time gonna get punked?
Yes.
This?
Yes, he's gonna get manipulated. It's not punked. He ain't gonna, first of all, if you punk Father Time, you never die. You punk Father Time, you're 90 years old. Tomorrow I can still throw it. He ain't doing all that. Just at 44, wait your turn, Father Time, because it's my time. That's what Tom Brady gonna do right now, man. 4 straight games with 4 or more touchdown passes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you gonna go back to last year on Baker and you ain't gonna go there with Tom Brady? Okay, I'm gonna go there. 9 straight games with 30 or more points are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady. Hey, bruh, that's half a season. They are out there tilting, as they used to say, going downhill with no brakes. Here's the most daunting part about Tom Brady having 9 straight games with 30 or more points. You gave Captain Clutch, Captain America, you spotted him 30? Tom Brady's supposed to win the 12-9 games, New England style. He's supposed to win the 30 to 28 games tight. He ain't supposed to be blowing teams out like this and going over 30 consecutive times, 9 straight. You gave the most clutch guy, the guy who can figure out a way when there is no way. Now you walk into the stadium and you better look up and coach saying, what's the score? We ain't started yet. No, actually, there's a 3 before that 0. It's 30-0. Catch us if you can. Father Time better look out because he's getting manipulated right now by Tom Brady.
I have no statistical evidence.
Oh, I do.
I have no empirical data.
I do. It's right there.
I have no, yards per. Tom Brady's currently winning the battle. He is. But, Sal, you just have to imagine there are those ever evasive forces in life.
Like what?
That gotta stop him eventually.
Like what?
That's where I'm at. I don't know what.
What?
I'm being honest.
Illness?
I don't know what.
Divorce?
But dude is what? 43, 44? Like,
and? You ready?
I refuse. So here's what I am.
You want some?
I am refusing.
No.
I ain't gave y'all casino story forever.
You're being stubborn.
No.
Oh, now you're going to gamble when you lost?
We're going to casino, y'all.
I don't want to go.
Eventually, Sal, when you go to the casino, you get on a run. I played blackjack. I've won 8, 10 hands in a row. I've gone on a run.
How much you bet? Nobody cares how many hands you won. Did you bet big?
I'll go like $500 hands.
Oh,
like
good.
you're up, but you ain't changing your life, but you up.
You up.
$500, you hitting. 8, 10 hands. But here's the problem.
That's a bottle.
Here's what you know.
What?
Just like Father Time always wins, the house always wins.
Yeah.
So eventually, when you hitting them, and you blackjack, 11, double down, 10, 21. Eventually, you got to lose. Because there is a force, the house, that will always win. Tom Brady is hitting right now. Blackjack, blackjack, tens. Oh, I'm going to split my tens. Ace, ace. Huh? But eventually, you have to be led to believe that there's a greater force that will stop him this season.
Now, why is the house always win? That's the conversation you need to have. See, once again, I said before you start talking about, well, the house always wins. Why does the house always win? Because they manipulate the circumstances, don't they? How many decks? 6, 7?
Yeah, 8.
Hey, what happened to the old deck with 52, 54 if you got the jokers in it? Like, what happened to that deck? They using card machine. I ain't going to get into all the details, but you know, they are manipulating the circumstances to get the outcome that's desirable, right? Tom Brady doing the same thing to Father Time. He said, look, I know you're going to end up winning, but let me just put you on pause. And that's what he's doing. So it's no natural law that casinos win. They manipulate the circumstances. There's no natural law that at 44, you can't play quarterback anymore with a 3-step drop and 1 knee. Yes, you can if your name is Tom Brady. But let me give you something to support all these words. Let me give you some numbers. Oh, my God. Tom Brady right now. Let's compare, first of all, Tom Brady to Tom Brady of the MVP years to see if he's going to win it. He's won it 4 times, right? I mean, 3 times, and then this is going to be his 4th. I'm already on record. He's going to win this year. All right. The other times, Tom Brady has more passing yards than he did in 2007 and 2010. Ding, 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 already on pace. Passing touchdowns and interceptions, this is the best he's ever had after 2 games. Ding, 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 ding. Completion percentage, already better than 2010 and 2017. Ding, 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 ding. And passer rating, good Lord, 2010 and 2017, get behind me. Tom Brady's on pace to be the MVP based on his MVP years. But also, remember when Patrick Mahomes won the MVP? Tom Brady's on a better pace than that. Ding, 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 ding. Remember when Aaron Rodgers won MVP just last year? Tom Brady's on a better pace than that. Ding, ding, ding. There's a bunch of other names here, but I ain't going to bore y'all. Point being, he's manipulating the environment, the circumstances, and the house does win. Tom House and Tom Brady. Coming up, the Cowboys got their first win Sunday. Y'all know who Tom House is? Get your Google out. But what did they prove? We'll answer that next on Speak For Yourself.
Let's get back to them Cowboys. They had some questionable clock management late in the game yesterday, but Dak Prescott still led an 11-play drive that set up the game-winning field goal over the Chargers. Now, after the game, Ezekiel Elliott talked about their balanced attack, saying, quote, you got to pick your poison, close quote. So, Sel.
Yes, sir?
What did the Cowboys prove in their win over the Chargers?
What did they prove? I don't think they went out with the intent to prove this, but me being at SoFi Stadium, sitting there in my season tickets, representing both teams, but one team a little more so because they invested in me more so. I learned that the Cowboys can go out there and be a lesser version of themselves and still come away with a victory. What is a lesser version of the Cowboys? Lesser version of the Cowboys is not starting the correct running back, and I think that's pretty obvious now. Zeke has been in decline since year 1. We've all come up here. I remember we were doing it on a little board. Now we're doing it on a big board. Every board in this damn studio, we have put up Ezekiel's numbers and shown them in decline. And we blamed a lot of different factors, injuries and changes to the lineup, et cetera. But I know from my former running back days and more so from my former defender days, that you could give 2 guys the same play and they're going to run them differently, whether it's in patience, whether it's in intent, whether it's in approach, whether it's in vision, whether it's in explosiveness, whatever you want to say. And I've been on teams where I was the running back by committee, and I've been on teams where I was the dude. I'm looking at Ezekiel right now. I was like, that's not the best version they have at running back. Still give him his touches, still give him his carries, but he doesn't run like a dog anymore. Runs more like Ezekiel Elliott, the running back. Tony Pollard runs like a dog. Oh, by the name of Tony Pollard. It's a big difference. Here's the second thing. I found out that the Dallas Cowboys have some of that moxie. Coaches always talk about intestinal fortitude. Not playing your best version of football, but going on the road, hostile environment, because SoFi Stadium was rocking last night. A lot of Cowboy fans, a lot of Charger fans, but it was packed to the tilt, and they still came away with a victory. Despite coach having clock management issues, despite him having running back by committee issues, even though the production was there. Despite Dak not having his best game, they still found a way. Through the COVID issues, injuries, mismatched lineups, Cowboys went on that flight with a smile, and that's what I learned from the Cowboys.
Yeah, what I learned, Sel, is that the Cowboys, if you're willing to give them a game, they'll take it.
Okay.
Chargers gave the Cowboys a game yesterday. But just because somebody offers you something don't necessarily mean they're going to take it. Now, you can try to give somebody reason. They might not be reasonable. Give somebody logic, they might not be logical. You can give somebody peace, but they're not a peaceful person. But the Cowboys, the Chargers gave them the game and they took it.
Yeah.
Why did I learn that? Because week 1, let's not be deceived. The Bucs tried to give the Cowboys the game. Chris Godwin fumbles at the goal line. No, we don't want that. Okay? Leonard Fournette drops past him. It's like, no, we don't want that. Ronald Jones here, I'll just fumble the mark. No, we don't want it. Bucks tried to give the Cowboys a game week 1. Cowboys were like, nah, we don't want that game. We're not going to take that. The Chargers, on the other hand, 2 touchdowns. You already talked about this an hour ago. 2 touchdowns the Chargers had turned over. Chargers gave the Cowboys a game. Okay, let me sneak out of SoFi. So what I learned was that, A, the Cowboys are finally at a place, at least for a week, at least for a day, at least for a game. Hey, if you're going to give us a game, we will take it. I learned much, much more, but I want to hear what my guy, Fox NFL analyst Bucky Brooks, what he learned. So, Bucky, what did the Cowboys prove in their win over the Chargers?
Oh, the Cowboys have a recipe for success that is infallible. Run game plus defense plus Dak equals win. And when they do it and they're balanced, it is hard to beat them. You heard Ezekiel Elliott talk about a pick-your-poison offense. Marcellus had to sit there and watch. I guess his team get their hands put on them by a team that is balanced. And we all know, because we all play defense, when someone lines up and runs the ball at you, it's a different kind of tail kicking than when someone throws for 400 yards. And what the Cowboys discovered is, we can talk about that offensive line, and Terrence still has to start, but when they lined up and decided that they wanted to play big boy football, they moved the Chargers off the ball. And I hear Marcellus keep trying to give away Ezekiel Elliott's job, trying to give his job away.
No, he's doing a good job of that.
And it's cute. No, it's cute. But look, I've seen this. I've seen Destiny's Child. I've seen Michelle go out there and try and be the lead singer.
Don't do this.
She ain't Beyonce. So I'm telling you, what you have to do is continue to let both of these guys run the rock, because that two-headed monster, which might be the best duo in football outside of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, it's a problem. And so when they run the football, Dak Prescott throws it 27 times. They run it over 30 times. It is hard to beat them. And, oh, by the way, they might have messed around and discovered a monster in Micah Parsons playing off the edge. He gave them a little more juice on defense than they had in the past. And so now when you talk about a team that can get ahead and score, when you have the opportunity to rush the passer like Micah Parsons was able to, it is a problem. Look out, man. The Cowboys are for real.
Bucky, I'm going to attack a couple other things you said just because it'll make for better television. Look, now, Bucky, the first thing is this. The Cowboys I've seen on social media, Cowboys writers, et cetera, bragging about a two-headed monster. You pay Ezekiel Elliott one-headed monster money. So I don't want to see a two-headed monster when Zeke making $90 million. Don't talk to me about no two-headed monster. Your pockets are fat enough to be able to run with both heads. I need you to be a speed back and a power back. Christian McCaffrey, they don't talk about, oh, we got a two-headed monster over there. No. You got Christian McCaffrey. That's what you got. Derrick Henry, oh, they got a two-headed monster. No. You got Derrick Henry. That's what you got. So don't start boasting about your lack of Ezekiel Elliott's greatness and now finding a two-headed monster. But really, Bucky, I spent my first hour, the primary aspect of my take was, I'm not going to give the Cowboys credit for stumbling into figuring out what their first-round pick does best. You drafted him in the first round. You did extensive research on his health, on his family, on his game, on his athletic ability. And you stumbled into figuring out where he was best when I watched a quarter and a half versus the Bucks, and I said, Micah Parsons needs to be rushing. Here's why I won't give them credit. And again, there's a tweet. That's last week, about 6:02, whenever it was, 6:20, when they was playing the Bucks, and I'm sitting there saying, yo, they need to have Micah Parsons rush the ball and put him in a position to succeed. So, Bucky, let me look at Bucky. I want to look at my tweet. I tweeted that, Bucky, after watching the quarter and a half. How they just now figuring it out? Let me talk big picture why that matters. Y'all remember when Bill O'Brien didn't start Deshaun Watson? Remember Deshaun Watson's rookie year? He started Tom Savage instead. Bill O'Brien
21
didn't realize that Deshaun Watson was the best quarterback on the team. Deshaun Watson goes out there and balls, and Deshaun Watson, we know, at the quarterback position is one of the greatest ever. Bill O'Brien is currently not coaching in the National Football League.
Damn.
It means something, Bucky, when you, a coach, can't identify your talent. It means something, Bucky, when you, a coach, can't put your players in the best position to succeed. So what else did the Cowboys prove? They still proved that they were more lucky than good.
Ooh.
Okay, so it's a good thing that you brought that point up there, because I have my own issues with the coaching. I am really worried about Mike McCarthy now. I had given him a pass for a ton of years based on what he was able to do in Green Bay, but I'm worried about the clock management. But we'll get to that. When it comes to Micah Parsons, here's what I will tell you, having watched the Cowboys practice and having watched the plan that Dan Quinn was putting into place during training camp. They always had Michael Parsons working off the edge at select packages. But because he's a talented athlete that weighs 6'3", 246 pounds with 4.38 speed, they thought using him in the middle of the field would be something that would benefit their defense, particularly when you had Jalen Smith and Leighton Bennett as either struggling or unavailable. So that's why they put him there. But because DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory were unavailable, they had an opportunity to put him off the edge. Now, I'm sure they did their intel like any good scout would do. When Michael Parsons was in high school in Harrisburg, PA, he was a 5-star recruit as a defensive end. So it wasn't the first time that he put his hand in the dirt. In fact, when he went to Penn State, there was some conjecture that maybe he should keep his hand in the dirt. So what I would say is they use all of that intel to figure out how to best utilize their player while only telling them on Thursday, hey, bro, you're going to have to play left defensive end and you're going to have to go to work because we don't have anybody else. So I like that. But back to the Ezekiel Elliott thing, because this continues to come up. We have to understand the cost of doing business versus the plan to win games. What you pay does not affect how you play them. So whatever you decided to pay Ezekiel Elliott, that is one thing. But how you play them, you play them in the best manner to win games. And so that $90 million that the Cowboys decided to spend on Ezekiel Elliott when they didn't have to, hey, that money is gone. But what you're trying to do now is, how do I take Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard and put the best product on the field? And the best product on the field is for both of those guys to play, not just the little guy, Tony Pollard, taking all the snaps.
Yeah, here's the problem, Bucky. Look, I'm not trying to go against the Cowboys. I'm just trying to give a real assessment. But you're trying to give this real assessment and then act like these are revelations. And Acho kind of pointed it out. These shouldn't be revelations if you're really a good ball club that's well ran. The Dallas Cowboys, in their last 16 games, so a full season before this year, right? When they ran the ball 30 or more times, you know what their record is in those games? 15 wins, 1 loss. How come the Cowboys don't act like that? I mean, you go all the way back 36 games. Dak is 32-4 when the 32-4 when the Cowboys run the ball 30 or more times. Okay, so there's a reason why you don't run the ball 30 or more times, because it's pretty obvious you should run the ball 30 or more times. It's because you got the wrong guy at RB1, as the kids say. As running back 1, it's Ezekiel Elliott. Now, I understand when you pay him, it doesn't matter how you pay him, you should still play him. I get all that. But then I'm looking at Zeke, and I'm like, where are them 100-yard games at home, boy? Oh, I see 1. I see 2 in the last year and 2 games. That's $90 million money? Okay, I digress. Here's why I don't have full belief in the Cowboys. Let me give you some of this. Bucky, give me some of this. They took 2 touchdowns off the board for the other team. The other team had 99 yards of penalties. The other team actually won the time of possession battle. How you have 198 rushing yards and lose time of possession? I digress. The other team didn't punt at all, talking about the L.A. Chargers, and Dallas wins the turnover battle, and y'all sitting there still nail-biting with a prayer for a 56-yard field goal from young Jeezy, who last week was in the outhouse, and this week he's in the penthouse. Man, Bucky, if you think that's a formula for success, if you think you can rinse and repeat that again and still have this same outcome, oh, you lying to yourself, big dog.
Oh, dog, I like you, man, because you do a great job of cooking the books. But I'm not going to let you get away with those slightly misleading stats. One, when it came to Ezekiel Elliott, I noticed you used the last year in a game, but I think I remember Dak Prescott didn't play for the majority of 2020. So we have to discount that part out. So we'll throw that part out. And then it came down to, 30 or more carries. Why are they doing that? They shouldn't be doing that or whatever. See, because here was the argument back then. The argument back then was number 4, Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott isn't worthy of getting paid because we're running the ball so much. Okay, so then Dak Prescott throws it more and they start losing, but he has to throw it more so he can get his money. Also, you know this within the league. As an offensive coordinator, you don't get a head job by having a great running attack. Greg Roman has been running the ball for 15 years, and Greg Roman can't get a sniff at a head coaching job. However, if you are an offensive coordinator that can throw it all over the yard, you get a job. Hey, Zach Taylor, Pat LaFleur, hey, Sean Waldron, those guys pretend they can move and escalate up the thing. So it's not fun or sexy or in the best interest of your career to run the football. That's why we don't see so many guys running, despite the evidence saying that when you run the football, you're going to win more games.
Yeah, I hear all that, but John Harbaugh is on line one saying, look, we're going to run the football and we're going to win games. But I understand what you're saying, right? Like, there's a lot of competing interests in terms of what this ball club is going through, and that's kind of my point. It's only the second game under Mike McCarthy that you can see that Dak and the Cowboys have run for 30 or more times. I think part of the reason why they won't commit fully to the running game is because they don't believe in the guy who's starting the game off at the running back position. I digress. All that said, Bucky, if you look at these Cowboys, they got to find their formula for success first and then worry about the outcome. It looked like yesterday it was in reverse. They got the outcome, but still haven't figured out their formula. Coming up, Lamar Jackson says the monkey is off his back against the Chiefs. We'll tell you what statement that made last night for the Ravens against the Chiefs. On Speak for Yourself. Let's get back to Baltimore, where the Ravens went toe-to-toe with the Chiefs last night and had the bigger toe. Lamar Jackson put them up by one with his second touchdown run. Baltimore got the ball back late in the fourth quarter after a huge fumble by KC on 4th and 1. Lamar got the first down, which helped get that monkey off our back. With his first win over Patrick Mahomes' Chiefs. Bucky is back, but Acho, what statement did the Ravens make in their win over the Chiefs?
Huge statement. They put the whole NFL on alert. Obviously, they put the AFC on alert. We all were led to believe that it was going to run through the Chiefs in Kansas City. That was getting to a Super Bowl from the AFC. But the Ravens said, not so fast. Man, I'm glad for the Ravens. I'm glad for the Chiefs. I'm most happy for Greg Roman, actually, because he gets so much hate. Offensive coordinator Greg Roman, that is, for the Ravens. So much hate, so much slack. Oh, they only run the ball. They only run the ball. You can't win just running the ball. I get all that. But Greg Roman schemed everything up with a run game that's impossible to stop. On another show, on another day, I will break down why it is so difficult to stop. But between Lamar Jackson out there, you just can never have enough men in the box. I'm also happy for Hollywood Brown. They proved, Greg Roman, that, you know what? You can beat the best teams in the league playing the way we play. Not only that, Hollywood Brown, hey, I was worthy of being a first-round pick at the wide receiver position. So the Ravens made a huge statement saying we're not the sons to the Chiefs. We ain't no punks. Chiefs can't just run in and beat us every time. And Lamar made a huge statement saying, look, I can struggle early. I can have some bad throws early. I can throw 2 picks in my first 10 passes, but I will still find a way to rebound late at the end of the game. Kudos to the Ravens. They closed the gap between the Chiefs. It's now the Ravens and the Chiefs, both tier 1 in the AFC.
Yeah, I'm with a lot of that. I agree with you, big dog, in terms of looking at the Ravens now. They are as good as the Chiefs. Now, that's something that shouldn't be so crazy to the Ravens to understand and believe. But it seemed like they believed that they weren't. Now they have evidence that they are. Let's have evidence that maybe they're better than the Chiefs, not just in the win last night, but in the way that they went out there and played that game, that they can still go out there, as we were talking about before, Bucky, rinse and repeat that performance and still get the desired outcome. Let me tell you what they did yesterday. They spotted the Chiefs. 2 interceptions. They spotted the Chiefs 7 points and said, we still catch y'all. Watch this. Now, who can say that about the Chiefs? Nobody. The Ravens can right now, this morning. Yep. And then they called a game plan in part to calm Lamar Jackson down because he was spooked. Let's be real, because Acho was spooked. People get spooked to teams. I don't get it. Like, no team is scary because no team's the same and you ain't played that team before. Everybody goes, no, they played the Chiefs 3 times before and lost. That ain't the same damn team, donut. It's a different team and how they're going to perform in that moment of truth. But this moment last night, we saw a little different Ravens team. First time the Ravens ever played against Kansas City and said, you know what we're going to do? Run the football more than 15 times. Oh, okay. You know what you saw from Lamar Jackson versus the other 3 times he played the Chiefs? His highest completion percentage. You know what you saw from Lamar Jackson versus the other 3 times he played against the Chiefs? The most rushing yards. You know what you saw from Lamar Jackson versus the other 3 times you saw against the Chiefs? Total touchdowns was the highest. And that's with the most giveaways by Lamar Jackson. Do y'all understand what I'm up here saying? I'm up here saying that the gap is non-existent now between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Ravens. And if you want to talk about them going toe-to-toe, like I said before, I think the Baltimore Ravens got the bigger toe.
Oh, wow. I mean, look, I love all the Baltimore Ravens love over here. I mean, Acho's going full 180 flipped on Lamar. Is the love test for number 8.
You caught that.
You're over here talking about the running game and all that other stuff. Here's what I'm going to say. I learned nothing from that game last night. I learned that they can win at home and they can win in the regular season, but we already know that. We know that Lamar Jackson and this crew can go 31-8 or 32-8, whatever they are when Lamar Jackson starts. Really, we won't know more about the Baltimore Ravens until we get into that money time, until it's the postseason, and then we can see if they get that lemon booty or not. If they pucker up, because then they begin to forget how they're supposed to play. Because the way they played last night, that's the way they need to play in the postseason. But for some reason in the postseason, they changed. And so what we need to know is, can Greg Roman and Lamar Jackson, can this Ravens team stick to the script, or do they get to the club and get all brand new and start trying to do moves that they can't do?
Here's the thing, though, Bucky. We had to have learned something, only because this. Yeah, we understand Lamar Jackson 31-8 or 30-8 as a starter. We get all that. But all of those wins are meaningless if you can't beat the one team you have to beat to attain the one thing you have to attain. Like, go 31-8 all you want, Lamar. But if you can't beat the Chiefs, I don't care about them 30 wins. I don't care about them 31 wins. I care about them 3 losses you had to the Chiefs. So, at a minimum, Bucky, the win that the Ravens got yesterday over the Chiefs, it now brings value and substance to all the other wins Lamar Jackson has prior. Without beating the Chiefs, Lamar Jackson, all them wins is just something on a website that people Google on occasion. But with the victory over the Chiefs, now those wins add substance, because now you can go beat the Chiefs when it matters, and now you can hoist trophies. Nobody believed the Ravens could beat the Chiefs, not prior to this game, not anybody outside of Ravens fans, because they hadn't done it. 0-3. Even yesterday, after the pick 6, here we go again. But now that they've done it, seeing is believing. That's everything.
Yeah, seeing is believing, and that's great. But I'm going to take it back to what you guys talked about with the Chargers and the Cowboys, and how it took a little bit of hocus pocus for the Cowboys to be able to win. It took the Chargers having 99 yards of penalties. It took some failures in the red zone for them to get it. So when I look at the Chiefs, it took the same kind of stuff for the Baltimore Ravens to pull that off. How many times are we going to see Patrick Mahomes have a mistake, a flub that he had that really gave the Baltimore Ravens an opportunity to stay in the game? How many times are we going to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire, when they're salting the game away, fumble the ball when a rookie Jason Oweh punches it out? Those things are not necessarily typical of how the Kansas City Chiefs happen. So it took everything, the stars to line up for the Baltimore Ravens to win a game by 1 point in their own house. How is that going to happen? Is that going to happen again if the Chiefs meet them again, particularly knowing that the Chiefs know fully that they can beat Baltimore home or away because they've done it so often?
Oh, come on, Bucky. Don't try and cook them that way. I don't like that recipe, because you're talking about Lamar Jackson. Oh, can you go out there and do this again? Lamar Jackson played the Chiefs 3 times prior to last night. And in those 3 games, only 2 giveaways. Last night, he had 2 alone in 1 game, including the pick 6, and still took the W home. So that ain't going to happen. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire's not going to fumble again. And Lamar Jackson ain't going to throw pick 6s again. And he ain't going to throw 2 interceptions again. I don't even want to hear that. Here's the thing that I do want to talk to my Ravens fans and the Ravens players, the few that are watching right now, while they're taking their little break from therapy. Why did y'all need to see something that was obvious just to believe it? Like, why do y'all need to see something? Like, I don't know, if you go on top of a building and drop a ball, it's going to drop and hit the ground. Like, why do you need to see that to believe it, right? Why do y'all need to see that y'all could beat the Kansas City Chiefs to believe it? Y'all didn't think y'all could beat the Kansas City Chiefs? They are beatable, and we know that from going back to last year, and we know that from watching them last night. And the way that you guys beat them should give you even more confidence than just a normal W. You guys went out there and spotted them. You guys went out there and was behind. You said, okay, take off. We'll wait. And then we'll take off and still catch you. Bucky, I need to see your face, because quarterbacks that put themselves in the position of Lamar Jackson last night, they just don't win games like that. There's been 588 times we've seen a quarterback have multiple interceptions, including a pick 6. And the quarterback has lost 500 of those. And you know what? Those teams are not the Chiefs. Lamar Jackson is now on a different level right now. And it's not coming from the running game. I think the running game has always been special. We all can agree on that. The issue with their team is that they have enough brilliance in the passing game, enough explosive plays in the passing game to get them over the hump. Last night against the Chiefs, The Chiefs gave up 8 big plays, not all passing plays, but what does it do? It puts them in that predicament where the Chiefs don't like to play. No team likes to play. That's the most against the Chiefs since 2018. The reason Lamar Jackson and them win last night is simple. They went out there and made special plays because I think that they're a talented special team.
I mean, they're a very special team, but I'm not going to sit up here and act like that passing game is ready to be on par with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Arizona Cardinals, even the Kansas City Chiefs.
It don't need to be, though, Bucky.
Just because Hollywood Brown had a nice game, we're not ready to anoint him and say that he's a gold jacket warrior, that he's going to be able to do those same things when the pressure is on it. It is nice that a first-round pick gave us 100 yards. That is what the expectation should be. He was drafted in the first round to make big plays. And so I'm glad he showed up to the party and made big plays. But now can you do it again and again and again and again in big games? And so as the Baltimore Ravens continue to make this journey to the postseason, which we think they will make the postseason, they have to show that they can continue to switch styles if need be to be able to win games. Lamar Jackson played great, and I love and applaud him for being able to make big plays. But we all know, as y'all told me, quarterbacks are judged by their ability to win and win when it really matters. And so until we start to see him rack up those big wins in the postseason, it's cute, but it's not quite enough for us to be off his back.
I know you and Nacho was struggling with this stat. It's 31-8. 31. Y'all kept saying 30, 31, 29, 28. 31-8. So if we're judging quarterbacks by wins, very few, if any, out there winning like Lamar Jackson. Coming up, Arizona is a perfect 2-0. We'll tell you if we're buying stock in Kyler Murray's Cardinals. That's next on Speak for Yourself.
Let's head to Arizona, where Kyler Murray had 400 passing yards with 4 total touchdowns. Well, the Vikings still had a chance to win it in the closing seconds, but they missed a field goal, and Arizona is now 2-0 to start the season after Sunday's thriller. Sal, you buying stock in Kyler Murray's Cardinals?
Yes, because they for real. 2 reasons. One, it's only 7 undefeated teams. Let me believe in all of them right now because, it's hard to not believe in a team that so far has found a way. And they have found a way not just with the expected front-runner mentality. They found a way to fight as well. It's a little bit of dogfight yesterday and still find themselves 2-0. Kyler Murray special, bro. Special. I was a little early on this one, and I'm glad because I stayed on and I just got quiet. Sometimes you jump off the wagon, you'd be like, not me. I just stayed on the wagon, but I was quiet. Now I can yell. Now I can boast. Kyler Murray out there making special plays. You can see it. His feet set up, what he can do with his arm. Look at that right there. That's so special. And second to Lamar Jackson to me in terms of quarterback mobility because he's a little different in his intention when he's running the football. Lamar Jackson knows he has such a special skill in running the football. You can see the conviction in his runs. Not with Kyler Murray. And it's not because he doesn't have the capabilities. He just doesn't have the conviction because from the top down, they're telling him, don't run like they are telling Lamar Jackson to run. So that leads him to keep putting his eyes down the field. That leads him to still being in the passing game while still looking right on cue. Look at that. While still running around with his mobility. Add all that up, bro. You've seen the special teams offensively second in the league in points scored, only behind the Tampa Bay Bucks. We know how crazy that offense goes right now. And if you also look at them, on defense up front especially, they're putting pressure on the quarterback. They didn't get the sacks in week 2 like they did in week 1. Obviously, Chandler Jones saw the vending machine trying to block them too. Everybody trying to chip on them. But the point is, they got defense, and more importantly, they got a special talent at quarterback.
Yeah, I'm all in on the Arizona Cardinals. But again, I said it last week. I will say it again this week. Every team from the NFC West will make the playoffs. I've been trying to tell y'all that. It's looking more likely. As bad as the Saints looked yesterday.
Every team's not undefeated.
It don't matter.
No.
As bad as the Saints
There's a team with a loss to Seattle. What are you going to do?
Look, we're going to talk. Okay. I'm going to keep bringing this up every week. But I think the Cardinals are going to be safe because they're doing what they do best. You brought in Cliff Kingsbury not to be some sort of defensive mind, not to be a defensive guru. He actually wasn't even a winning head coach in college. But he was a phenomenal offensive mind. That's why you brought him in. That's why he ditched USC at the last second after being named their offensive coordinator and jumped ship to Arizona. And now you have Kyler Murray, you have Rondale Moore, you have A.J. Green. Forgot about him until I watched Sunday's game. You have DeAndre Hopkins. You have Christian Kirk. You have all of these weapons, and you have Cliff Kingsbury, who at least, as it pertains to having these offensive weapons, is a master chef. That's why you see Kyler Murray putting up 400-plus yards of offense.
Right.
Defense, suspect, yes. What's up with their first-round picks the last couple years? I still don't know. Isaiah Simmons, I still want to see more from him, given how early he was drafted.
Though.
Looks the part, and Isaiah Simmons to me is maybe the most athletic player in the NFL. But I just got to see more. Collins, got to see more from him. However, as it pertains to the Cardinals, I'm all in on they stop.
Yeah, the only thing I want to push back on is the reason Cliff Kingsbury didn't go to USC. You take a recruiting trip, even as a coach, when you're getting signed, right? Getting hired, right? And then they showed you where you're going to live in Arizona. You saw his crib, right? And then they showed that dorm on Figueroa he was going to live in USC. I got to go. Got to go to Arizona. And it's a better job in terms of pay. Whatever. I digress. The thing about Arizona is not going to be their division. Because you know what? They all going to beat up on each other. I think it's going to be a lot of splits in that division. Seattle right now find themselves early, falling behind. Seattle's going to be fine. I joke. I jest. The thing with Arizona is going to be different is you can't script for what they're going to do unscripted. And that is that's the hardest thing about the NFL experience. You line up, I got tendencies. Okay, you line up, I'm not guessing, coach, I'm anticipating. You line up, I know what I'm dealing with. And then they do something different. And you're like, I went my entire work week looking at Kyler Murray in this vacuum. And now Kyler Murray comes out there and does X. You're never fully prepared for those moments. That's why Arizona, who's always been the one that you had to look out for in this division, despite not having the postseason opportunity and success, they always give it to the teams in the division. This time, they're going to be doing it from a greater position, maybe from a front-runner position. Coming up, Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. Oh, my God, both had a rough weekend. Rough. We'll tell you which rookie quarterback we're more concerned about. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson were the top 2 picks in the draft, but their NFL careers are off to a kind of rough start. Lawrence threw 2 interceptions in the Jaguars loss Sunday, and Zach Wilson had 1, 2, 3, 4 interceptions in the Jets loss. Acho, more concerned about Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson.
And I'm more concerned about Zach Wilson because of where he is. It ain't really got as much to do with Zach Wilson as it does with his surrounding. Excuse me. It's like, still, I'm concerned about the person who's just is trapped in a situation they can't get out of, and that situation is horrid. Remember this, y'all. Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts and all that jazz. We clowned Sam Darnold. Oh, we thought he was no good, even though he's drafted in the top 5 by these New York Jets. Sam Darnold yesterday had 2 touchdown passes, no picks, 18 of 24 through the first half of play. Sam Darnold and his Carolina Panthers, they off to a great start. But this the same Sam Darnold who New York told me was no good.
That part.
So Zach Wilson, as good as he is or is not, we'll never know. Not as long as he's in New York. As long as he's in New York, he's just going to be not good. Zach Wilson, again, through the first half of football yesterday, threw as many completions to the opposing team as he did to his team. It's not good. Trevor Lawrence, he made some great throws, has made some bad decisions, but Trevor Lawrence, I think, will be okay. Jacksonville's just been atrocious for a long time. But I'm more concerned about Zach Wilson because you always tell me you got to be greater than your greatest excuse.
You better be.
What about your greatest excuses?
Oh.
And Zach Wilson got some excuses, plural in New York.
Oh, hold on. Let me put that extra S in there for while he is. You silly. Yeah, I'm with you. It's Zach Wilson. Because he's pressing to make something that's already bad good. And that's a tougher ask than what you're seeing down in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence knows, Urban Meyer knows, this year, y'all, is practice. This ain't for real. Urban Meyer's already pleading with the fans. He's already come out and said, fans, be patient with us. You know why? Because we're going through a glorified practice this year. Zach Wilson, because they start comparing him to Patrick Mahomes, start going up there and start comparing his arm talent, saying, oh, you look like Aaron Rodgers, and oh, the Jets got a little something this offseason, a new coach. Guess what they start thinking? That they actually going to be good? Boy, stop. Now you're seeing Zach Wilson press at a level that maybe you shouldn't be pressing at that way. Let me give it to you, and we didn't go track today. This is our worst show ever. We're in the H block and we haven't talked track yet? Let's talk track right now. Everyone who is a casual fan of track says, oh, what are the sprint events? 100, 200, 400, right? Now, this is how you know if they're a casual fan or a real fan. Real fans know you ain't sprinting the 400 either, right? But we say that because in the 400, you got to obviously drive, phase, acceleration. You got to find the coast. Watch the back 100 and back to it. They not running as hard as they can.
Open up that stride.
You better just let this wind and this momentum take me somewhere. Then I hit that curve and start doing a little more digging, right?
All that.
Zach Wilson running the 400 all out. He really tried every game like, I'm going to make this pass. This dude threw interception after interception after interception. And then was just like, oh, let me throw another one. And he's just pressing. I hope they don't ruin what his capabilities are, because his confidence will get shot in the process trying to make something that's bad good.
Phenomenal point, phenomenal analogy. Here's the reason I think Zach Wilson, I guess, is stuck. Jets don't really have a backup quarterback. Backup quarterback Mike White. No real Division I dominant high-level experience. Mike White doesn't really have much NFL experience. So when Zach Wilson is in the midst of a clearly losing effort against the New England Patriots, when he's thrown his third and now his fourth pick early on in the third quarter, pull him. And you pull him just for the sake of long-term damage. Like, y'all can do some irreparable damage to this young man, at least for year one. It's like, pull him. But you can't pull him because you ain't got nobody to put in there in replacement for him. So the reason I think Zach Wilson is sprinting and has to sprint all out, one, because of comparisons. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. Two, from where he was drafted. Three, he ain't got nobody behind him, so he got to sprint.
Yeah, but look, I ain't having nobody behind me growing up. I ain't had nobody in front of me growing up. It was all on me. I put the cape on. I said, I'm going to get us out the hood, right? And I'm going to do it two ways. Use my brain, use my body. But it didn't happen in one day. Hey, you try to sprint out the hood. Hey, forget you, gang members. Forget you, drug. Forget you, adversity. Forget you, poverty. I'm out. They were like, all right, I'm going to see you about 10:30 tonight, brother. We're going to talk about that. You got to have a plan. And your plan of attack can't be all-out sprint. It has to be managed. And I don't know if he's being properly managed, because Zach Wilson, you got talent. But, boy, know how to apply it. Coming up, Sean Payton said the Saints' offensive struggles start with him. We'll tell you if he's keeping it 100 or only keeping it 99. That's next. Yep, it's back on Speak for Yourself. Why you always lie?
Now, y'all know how it goes down on this show. We only know how to keep it 100.
100.
Others keep it 99 each day. So we're going to get to the bottom of who's really telling the truth. Now, case in point, Jameis Winston. Oh, he had a bad day. Threw 2 interceptions. Was sacked 4 times, and the Saints lost to the Panthers. But Sean Payton took the responsibility. Y'all take a listen.
Offensively, particularly, it's as poor as we've been in a long time around here, and that starts with me.
You said we. Sal, is Sean Payton keeping it 100 or is he keeping it 99?
He keeping it 99. Anytime you hear any coach say it starts with me, one, that coach knows they ain't gonna do a damn thing to me. And two, I'm lying. I am protecting somebody. And right now he's protecting Jameis Winston. He's protecting the future. I believe the children are our future. Thank you. And he is protecting him because he doesn't want to lose his confidence after the highs of 5 touchdowns and the lows of yesterday's performance.
Look, Sal, you ain't never been more right a day in your life. Here's what I listened for.
What?
Sean Payton said we. This wasn't a we problem, Sean Payton. Call it a spade, and keep it a buck with everybody. Jameis Winston relapsed momentarily, but he relapsed nonetheless.
He back in the spot
out there.
He out here tweaking.
He forgot that he went to the Harvard of quarterback schools, and he went out there throwing mindless, careless interceptions. I'm not out on Jameis just yet, but yesterday, Jameis Winston was out on the Saints.
See, I told you about that. You said Jameis is fixed. Jameis is great. And I said, hey, get around that drink, get around the club, get around that wedding. Then you're going to see if you're over that drink. If not, you're going to go back to who you are. And that's who he is. That's it for us. See y'all tomorrow.
Told you about that.